So we now have with us Mr. Syed Nazakat. He's the founder and CEO of DataLEADS, and he's also our keynote speaker at the Techlusive Awards and Summit today. So, sir's accolades cannot be put into words. If I start saying that, it will take a long time for me to repeat all of them. So let me start with your experience here. You have over 17 years of experience in journalism, and how would you say journalism has changed from when you started and to the current time now with Web 3.2, AI, and other things advancing at a rapid pace?
Yeah, no, I think thank you so much for this question. Actually, I think journalism certainly a change in terms of the way the stories are curated, disseminated, and how the internet has played fundamental role in terms of how you engage audiences. But if you look at fundamentally, to be honest, the storytelling has remained the same. What really is journalism? It's like going around, meeting people, understanding them, and telling their stories to a larger audience. I think in that separate, journalism remains very committed to the fundamental values, which remains the value of your first, loyalty remains to your reader or the audiences you have. Your process of fact checking, your process of verification remains fundamental to what you are sharing with the audiences. So I think those principles somewhere down the line remain fundamental to journalism. The spirit of collecting information, the spirit of verifying that information, the spirit of sharing that information with the audiences, because eventually the information remains one of the fundamental things for any human being to have access to accurate information, have access to accurate information on time so that you can take a decision which could be empowering to you, which could be helping you to take important decisions about your life, about society, and about the region you're living in, so that you can engage with conversations with people. You can take informed decisions in that way.
Beautifully explained, sir. And that also brings me to my next question. But before that, to maybe be brief about your answer, it would be like saying that the fundamentals are the same. Maybe the dynamics have changed a lot, but the fundamentals do remain the same. I guess that's what you're trying to say, right? If I try to summarize it.
Right, oh, absolutely. I think it remains the content remains the king. What we are discussing is the delivery is the queen. So how are you delivering process is changing? How do you make sure this content, this information reaches people? The formats are changing. It was newspaper for a long time dominating the industry. It came radio, there was a TV, now there's the internet, and now we are looking at apps and we're looking at the future of the web actually.
So that's amazing. And you're also one of the pioneers for fact checking here in India, which is crucial in today's time. So, can you give our viewers a brief insight as to how they can fact check the material that they're consuming? Like you said, it's really important today's time.
No, it's like, as I said earlier as well, I think for the first time in the human history, we have access to more information than we are able to consume. So that makes our situation very difficult. So we are not really able to verify millions and millions of pictures, videos which are uploaded every minute, and which we also come across or consume. So how do you really make sure that whatever you're consuming is accurate information? So the larger question of course, for newsrooms, whether they have competencies, whether they have knowledge of tools and techniques, so that they can verify the content before they share with the larger audience, but also for the public actually, whether they really are able to critically examine the content and critically consume it before they share it with others. So I think certainly, leave aside the tools. I think there are maybe a fundamental question would be, before you consume any information, are you really sure about the source of this information? What are the other sources saying about this piece of information? And can you verify it by some way before you share it with others? If not, then take a pause, then verify it. So I think there are a number of tools which could be useful in terms of verifying an image, verifying a video, or verifying a data set. I think the fundamental question remains whether we are critically examining, whether we are not falling for our own biases, which makes us vulnerable to misinformation, right? Our confirmation bias for that matter, like we want to see things we like actually. So for that, I think the one simple thing, maybe as any person for that matter, if he adopts understanding of checking every time, whatever you're consuming, and whether you're really sure about the real source and the source of that information. That could be a starting point for engaging with the information in a better way.
It's a very crucial points that you have touched on. Like you do have to fight against your biases in today's time. All right, and that is one of the key factors when you have to determine or fact check something before you share it.
Right.
Great, sir. So that brings me to the last question. Today's Techlusive Summit and Awards are all about Web 3.0 and the developments, the emerging importance of artificial intelligence. So, what's your insight on how media and other relevant fields can leverage these developments in AI and Web 3.0?
Technologies have been playing fundamental role the way we collate information and the way we disseminate it, right? Fundamentally. But I think the new technologies, which includes AI now, has created an unprecedented, impact on information and communication industry particularly. So there's a challenge of how do you really better understand this technology so that you can better adopt that. So there's certainly advantages of making sure that we can increase the frequency, scale. We can engage at a better level. We can free a lot of jobs where we do not, which are manual in terms of, say for example, counting for that matter. A machine can do much better than that. Maybe machine can save us from a lot of work where you need human effort a lot, and maybe give us a more space to analyze the information. Machine can take care of speed, and human beings can take care of context, the background, maybe connecting dots and all for that matter. So I think that's the huge area where the artificial intelligence can actually help us to build new engagement with the audiences, create new platforms. But the challenge we are having actually is that the same technology is, exposing us to a challenge of deepfakes, AI-driven content, which already we are seeing in different situations globally, has become a challenge. It's almost impossible for anyone, for that matter, to verify and identify whether this content is AI-driven or not, whether this is deepfake or not. We are already seeing case studies from different places in the world where artificial intelligence was used to create and disseminate a content to undermine a government, to undermine a genuine information source, or to undermine an election process, a democratic process. So I think we have a challenge with new technologies, but I think our guiding principle should be that we should be careful to adopt AI responsibly, and at the same time, we should innovatively look at the technologies. We should not be fearful that this technology can slow down us, but look at the future possibilities where we can engage with the information with AI in a better way.
Wonderfully put, sir.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you
Thank you
so much for
Thank you
your
so
time.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.
for your
Thanks a
time.
lot. Pleasure.